Breaking news, President Joe Biden making his final appearance at the United Nations General Assembly today. The president speaking about the most pressing issues confronting the world, from the wars in Gaza and Ukraine to climate change, trade, and the global economy. And he also took up the case for ensuring the safe use of the newest technological revolution that's powered the stock market to all-time highs: artificial intelligence.
And much of it could make our lives better. But AI also brings profound risks, from deep fakes to disinformation, to novel pathogens, to bioweapons. But let's be honest, this is just the tip of the iceberg, what we need to do to manage this new technology. Nothing is certain about how AI will evolve or how it will be deployed. No one knows all the answers.
Here to discuss the president's remarks and the chip sector that's powering AI is Constellation Research founder Ray Wang. Ray, President Biden urged the world leaders who were in attendance to work to define new norms and standards. Is the genie already out of the bottle, though?
Liz, you're absolutely right. The genie is out of the bottle, but it's so hard to get ethical standards in place. I mean, talk about the UN. There are a few things that we all agree with, and then there are different things at a cultural level. And the thing with AI is it's the one opportunity for these governments to get in and meddle into affairs and actually create regulations that they couldn't have before, and they're all struggling to figure out how they're going to do it without strangling the innovation.
Well, 60 UN countries signed a UN resolution. I'm not a huge fan of UN resolutions. But they develop global rules of the road. But again, how are they going to do this all on the same page when you, as you say, have all kinds of different cultures and different things? I mean, Russia certainly doesn't want rules of the road, China either, but there are people here in the United States who are putting up deepfakes constantly.
Yeah, no, it's a really important point. And when we think about it, take the basic 30 UN human rights. It took so long to even agree on those. Now, let's imagine what those look like in an era of AI and digital. That's going to be very, very different than what we see today. So, for example, do I have the right to be disconnected and not seen as a terrorist? Do I have the right to my data and health information, my genomics, and can that be my property right? There's going to be a lot of things we need to do to be able to ensure that people have those rights and freedoms. But the challenge is we've been living in a culture of scarcity and centralization, and that's what the UN elites want. Human beings want decentralized abundance, which is going the other direction. Make my life free, give me freedoms, let me be able to do what I need to do, and let me actually thrive and actually be innovative. I'll
tell you what's thriving are the chip companies and the big tech companies that are involved in the advancements of AI. I mean, NVIDIA today is one of the big leaders that's keeping the market floating higher. It's up more than 3%. The CHIPS Act, we got news that the president's CHIPS Act today, the funding is finally getting distributed, and the first company that's getting it is Polar Semiconductor. This is a Minnesota-based chip company. They make sensor and power chips. On the one hand, great. This is a company that's been around, by the way, for 60 years. So it's got an established pattern. This is not a case of Solyndra where, when people were just throwing money at a startup and it was a complete disaster in the past. But tell me exactly why you think they chose this company. It is I guess it's backed by Allegro Microsystems. That stock is popping. But why do you think Polar got the nod?
Well, they got the nod because they agreed to a lot of the terms in the CHIPS Act. There's things that are built in. This is an important part of the infrastructure. You're going to want to have power systems. You're going to be able to do basic general kind of chips that are out there. We need more chip capacity in the U.S., and it's a national security issue. The challenge is, a lot of chip companies were holding back because they're worried about all the other provisions. What are the labor requirements? What are the environmental requirements? What's all the overhead?
Lots of strings attached.
There is a lot of strings. There's nothing free, right, when you actually take a handout from the government or you take an investment like this. And plus, any kind of investment you take from the CHIPS Act, the profits have to be returned back to the government.
Well, onshoring, I know that they said they will onshore business. So that, of course, is something that the Biden administration and the CHIPS Act requires. Let's bring it to Intel. Intel earlier this year got a commitment from the Commerce Department, which proposed sending something like $8.5 billion to Intel because they were, I think they still are, maybe building up this massive, almost mini city just outside of Columbus, Ohio, with fabrication plants and all kinds of plants and factories. But Intel's struggling a little bit here. I mean, there's word that Qualcomm recently made a bid for taking it over. Apollo wants to invest in it in exchange for equity. What happens here with Intel?
Well, Intel's in a tough spot, right? When companies, especially high-tech companies, middle age out, this is what happened here. When they middle age out, basically they are in a situation.
Middle age out.
Sorry about that. It's the bureaucracy. The top of the company is really good. The bottom is really good. The middle doesn't know what to do. They're mired in bureaucracy, and so they have no innovation. They're stuck in the process piece, and everybody was focused on revenues and shareholder value instead of making the investments on innovation. And so what happens in Intel's case is it's most likely that they're going to separate the foundry business from the design part of the business, and Apollo will come in. And Apollo has a long-range kind of view in terms of how they invest. They're probably the right investor to actually think about a 10-year plan for Intel as opposed to a 5-year plan that Pat has to work with, given what he's got with the shareholders.
Right now, we are leading. The U.S. is leading. AMD, NVIDIA, on semiconductor. Micron, I mean, you could name so many companies, and they're building out here. So is Taiwan Semi. However, there was news this week that Taiwan Semi and a couple of other companies are interested in speaking with the United Arab Emirates to build out there. Samsung, of course, is Korean, Taiwan Semi, Taiwanese. But how do we, I don't know, we don't want to go to bat against the Middle Eastern countries like the United Arab Emirates, but we want to keep them attracted to the United States, do we not?
We definitely do, but what's happening in the Middle East is actually something incredible. They're working very hard.
You were just there, right?
Yes, I was just in Riyadh and Dubai, and what we noticed is that there's a ton of investment in AI and blockchain and all these new technologies, especially things that are building critical infrastructure going forward, and they're bringing the top talent in wherever they can. And so if you look at what could happen with chip manufacturing, they also want to be able to do their large language models. You know, it's like the Saudi Data and AI Institute. They're basically putting together an Arabic language model. So they have that running. And so they're building all the building blocks to get and leapfrog to the next set of technologies. Now, the good news is they're allies. The tough challenge is, can we actually put the same kind of policies in place to keep people still investing in the U.S.?
Great point. Great point. Ray Wang, thank you so much. It's
Thanks
great to have you.